As Joshua's fame grew, his mother worried about how it might affect him. "Joshua," she asked one evening, "how do you know these things?" "I don't know, Mama," Joshua said, snuggling into her lap. "I just see it in their faces, like a glow or a shadow." In the small town of Blue Haven, there was a curious boy named Joshua. Joshua lived with his mother in a modest home. Joshua was an ordinary child in many ways. He loved playing in the mud, eating cookies, and chasing butterflies. However, Joshua had a gift no one could explain. At just 5 years old, he could tell when someone was destined to become rich. One morning, while walking to the market with his mother, Joshua tugged at her hand and pointed to a street vendor selling roasted corn. "That man will be very rich, Mama," Joshua said. His mother laughed. "Why do you say that, Joshua?" "I just know," he replied, shrugging his tiny shoulders. 2 years later, the vendor's small store grew into a sprawling food empire, and he became one of the wealthiest men in Blue Haven. Joshua's mother dismissed it as coincidence until similar incidents began to pile up. At the park, Joshua whispered to an artist painting portraits. "Your drawings will make you famous, and you'll be rich." Within months, the artist's work was discovered by a gallery, and he became a sensation. Word spread about the boy with the uncanny ability to predict wealth. Soon, strangers visited Joseph, seeking his insight. Some came with gifts, hoping to hear good news. Others came out of sheer curiosity. One day, a wealthy but unhappy merchant named Mr. Peter visited Joshua. He bent down and asked, "Will I always be rich, boy?" Joshua tilted his head and stared at Mr. Peter for a moment before shaking his head. "No. You lose everything, but you'll find something better." The merchant scoffed and left, but Joshua's prediction came true. A year later, Mr. Peter lost his fortune in a risky venture. However, in his quest to rebuild his life, he found peace working with a charity that helped orphan children. As Joshua's fame grew, his mother worried about how it might affect him. "Joshua," she asked one evening, "how do you know these things?" "I don't know, Mama," Joshua said, snuggling into her lap. "I just see it in their faces, like a glow or a shadow." Despite the attention, Joshua remained a playful and kind-hearted boy. He never used his gift for personal gain, and he often warned people to focus on kindness and hard work rather than chasing wealth. One day, a young woman named Cynthia came to see Joshua. She was a struggling baker who dreamed of opening her own bakery. "Will I ever be rich, Joshua?" she asked nervously. Joshua looked at her, his bright eyes scanning her face. He smiled. "Yes, but it will take time. You'll make the best cakes, and people will love you." Encouraged by Joshua's words, Cynthia worked tirelessly to perfect her recipes. Years later, her bakery became the heart of Blue Haven, and her success brought joy to the entire community. As Joshua grew older, his gift remained, but he learned to use it sparingly. He realized that true wealth wasn't always about money, it was about happiness, love, and the impact one had on others. By the time Joshua turned 18, he had helped countless people believe in themselves and their potential. Blue Haven thrived, not just because of its newfound riches, but because Joshua's wisdom had taught its people to value kindness and perseverance above all else. And so, the little boy with the extraordinary gift became a legend, not for the wealth he foresaw, but for the hope he inspired in everyone he met. Hope you enjoyed this story. What would you do if you had such a gift? What are your thoughts on how little Joshua handled his gift of knowing when people would become rich? Drop your comment and click subscribe if you haven't done that. See you in my next story.